Part 7. Stop Pretending. What Happened When My Big Sister Went Crazy by Sonya Soanes. After the party on Friday night. The whole walk home, I'm wondering if he'll kiss me, and wondering what it will feel like if he does. Halfway there, he slips his arm around my waist, and I slip mine around his. We move on through the quiet streets, hip pressed lightly to hip, falling into a smooth rhythm. As we near my house, he leads me into a pool of dark that lies just beyond the glare of the streetlight, and suddenly presses his lips onto mine, melting us together, till he pulls back and looks into my eyes, saying, "Maybe we shouldn't have done that." Then he grins and kisses me again. With a click. Hiking on a sunny Saturday with my camera and my boyfriend, we wander through Rock Meadow, the soft grass waving, bees humming in the wildflowers. Click. He finds a heart-shaped stone and tucks it into my pocket, leans against a willow tree watching me. There's something about those eyes, those darkest lashes. Click. That face, that hair, those warmest lips. Click. My boyfriend watching me through the feathery leaves of the willow. Click. Looking at me in that way he does, with that smile in his eyes that shine the way that makes me love him. That look of his, of my boyfriend's, captured forever with a click. Psych ward rule number 37. When I show my sister the photos of John, she whistles. She wants to know all about him. So I tell her everything, and for a few perfect minutes we forget where we are. But then she starts scratching her head, so hard it hurts to watch, and blurts out, "Hey, don't you want to hear about Jake and me?" "Who's Jake?" I asked. "He just got here last week," she says. "Best-looking lunatic I've ever seen." She says she's got a big crush on Jake, and Jake's got one back on her. "But it doesn't do us any good," she sighs. "There's no PC allowed." "What's PC?" I ask. "Physical contact," she says. Psych ward rule number 37. "Don't feel so bad," I say. "Mom and Dad won't let John and me have any PC either." We burst out laughing, but on the inside, I'm wondering if my sister will ever be able to have a boyfriend again. ER. Sarah tells me her cousin Lisa took something that made her see these little tiny bloody men peeking out at her from the bushes, and a gigantic praying mantis chasing her down the street. Lisa said it was like having a really scary movie playing right inside her head, and that even when she closed her eyes it wouldn't go away. She ended up in the emergency room. I tell Sarah I wouldn't try that stuff even if someone paid me $1,000,000. I wouldn't want to do something that might land me in a room right down the hall from my sister. Meeting sister. My sister wants to meet my boyfriend, and she won't stop bugging me about it. "What's the matter?" she keeps asking. "Are you ashamed of me?" I finally make myself tell John. I say I'll completely understand if he doesn't want to. I'm secretly hoping he'll refuse, but he doesn't. We ride the subway over to the hospital. John jumps when the heavy iron door of the ward locks, ka-chung, behind us. But when he meets sister, he handles it pretty well, even when she whacks herself hard on the side of her head, and tells us she's trying to kill the fly that's buzzing around in her brain. Aside from this, she manages to seem almost normal. Charming, even. She's working so hard not to embarrass me. I could kiss her. On the way home, John says, "I like her. I like your sister. And I love him even more in that moment than I've ever loved him before." Sister's voices. The voices came whispering again that night while she was lying in her bed. She thought she heard them say her name, and then their laughter rustled deep inside her head. They didn't seem to know she was awake, listening to every word they said. She tried to block them out, but couldn't make them go away. The voices asked her why she'd lost her mind. Her hands began to shake. She heard them mention shock treatments and sigh. Their murmurs kept her up all night, and then a silence fell when sunlight filled the sky. Today the voices will be gone, but when evening falls and she lies in her bed, she'll hear them come whispering again. Sister says it's not so bad. She says it sort of feels like someone's wrapping her up in his long arms, holding her tight, calming her, cooling her, all through the night, settling her, soothing her, keeping her safe, like a second self, like a faithful friend, her jacket of white. Shock. Will they strap down her wrists and ankles to the table? Will they shove something hard into her mouth to keep her from biting her tongue? Will they turn up the dial with the iced smiles, just like in the movies? Will they flip the switch, slamming an arch into her back? Will she forget everything for a while after this? Will she even forget to be crazy? Aftershock. Remember the time we pulled over by the side of the road and Dad gave us lumps of sugar to feed some horses? Nope. Remember the cartoon characters on the wallpaper in our bedroom when we lived on Harvard Terrace? Nope. Remember that little dog we used to give our Cheerios to? Nope. Remember me? Hair today, there tomorrow. Remember last spring when Mom finally gave you the short haircut you wanted and tucked your freshly snipped ponytail into that plastic bag? We wondered why. The next morning at breakfast, there it was, wrapped up into a neat round bun on Mom's head, hiding the spot where her hair was thinning. I knew what would happen if I looked at you, but I couldn't help it. You made your eyes wide as two fried eggs, and we burst into hysterics. Remember? Going for the gold. Remember when Mom went through her gold leaf period? She had that stack of thin booklets filled with sheets of foil made of real, actual gold. Remember how she went around gluing it onto everything? We had gold-leafed doorknobs, gold-leafed Kleenex dispensers, gold-leafed light switches, and gold-leafed leaves on the plastic flowers of our gold-leafed flower pots. We even had a gold-leaf toilet seat, remember? We'd had that toilet seat for a couple of months when you and I noticed that the gold leaf was starting to wear off. So we checked each other's bottoms to see if they were glittering and had a fit of gold-leafed giggles. You remember that. You do. Finally, I fly home from the hospital to share the news with my parents. She knew me today. She knew who I was, and I knew her too. She was there, really there. We talked about dreams. She braided my hair. We sat side by side and played heart and soul. Today, I hated to leave. I hug my parents, and they hug me back, holding tight like feathers to the wing of a bird. Girls' night in. Mother's friends are over tonight, and I'm sitting at the top of the stairs listening to the tinkling of their voices, the gentle flap of the cards being shuffled, the muffled jingling of coins tossed onto the silk tablecloth, and the best sound of all, my mother's long-lost laugh. Memorial Day. No school today. Mother's gone to shop the sales. Father's stationed in front of the TV, cheering for the Red Sox. I plop down next to him on the couch. He looks over at me and says, "I thought you hated baseball." "You're right," I say. "I think watching baseball is about as interesting as watching a faucet drip." He laughs long and deep, and then he switches off the TV. Just like that. "Come on," he says. "Let's you and me go get some fish and chips over at Kelly's." I'm lucky he's holding my hand on the way to the car, or I'd probably just float up into the sky like a balloon. Tonight. I'm tucked between my mother and father, snuggling on the couch under the quilt that Grandma Ruthie made, watching an old movie on television, eating popcorn. And tonight, for once, it feels okay to just be 3. Dr. Milton Silver. Somehow Sister and I started talking about our dentist, and she confesses that whenever she's alone with him in his office, he tells her she's the prettiest of the 2 sisters. I gasp when I hear this and confess that whenever I'm alone with him in his office, he tells me I'm the prettiest of the 2 sisters. And then we start laughing and we can't stop. We clutch each other and laugh until visiting hour's over. And I think to myself that this moment was definitely worth all the drilling. In the visiting room. The 4 of us sit down to play Scrabble. Father puts down hotel. Mother puts down tired. I put down when. It's my sister's turn. She fiddles with her letters on the tiny wooden rack, trying them first one way and then another for what seems like a long time. Finally, she smiles slyly and puts down spidosal. Spidosal, Father says. Spidosal, Mother says. What's that mean, I say. 50 extra points, that's what, Sister says. Father raises an eyebrow. Then he winks at my sister and puts down hooky bop. Not bad, she says. Not bad at all. Mother peers at her over the top of her reading glasses. Then she grins and puts down queeb. That's not a word, Mother says. It is now, Mother says. My sister gives her a high five. It's my turn. I look around the table at my whole family and put down better.